Hello and welcome to Hashtag Off the Record, a special Project Offbeat series specifically catered for casual convos with our guests. We do this so we can get to know them beyond their careers, the human behind the job. Expect pressing talk of the town questions and fun challenges. If you haven't listened to Gab's Pat, we highly suggest you to start there first. In today's segment, we are joined by conservation photographer Gab Mejia.
Hey Matt. Hey.
Yay!
Hey, Gab again, no? Okay, Gab. So why don't we get started with the off the record segment presented by our partner Nara Wooden Watches? Okay, Gab. So the first segment will be called Big Questions, wherein medyo controversial, medyo malaking question to talk of the town kind of questions, right? So get ready, Gab. I hope everything goes well in this segment as you answer your questions. Okay, number one question, Gab, and I think I'd want to go specifically. I prepared this question, sabi ko, walk us through the day or night that you were recognized by Forbes 30 under 30. But you know what? Based on our previous discussion earlier, I want to sort of change this question, no? Gab, what did you feel, no, when you were awarded the Genti Award or the Forbes 30 under 30? Parang naisip ko lang, was this still as valuable as how our other corporate counterparts deem it, no? Kasi I have a lot of friends that got into these awards then, and they talk so much about it in LinkedIn and whatnot, no? But seeing how your disposition is, no, in terms of, getting towards bigger problems and bigger things of your concern, mahalaga pa ba to sa'yo, winning these awards? How did you feel during the times that you got this?
I felt nothing. No, no I'm kidding. No,
Oh.
but it's no, honestly, I'm grateful for it. Like I don't even know who nominated me for these
Yeah.
things. I just saw in my email that I got it, and I was like, there. And what reminded me was just that there's a lot of people behind the shadows, behind the darkness, that
Mhm.
will support you even though you may feel crappy about your work. And I think that's what I genuinely felt more grateful about. That you don't need to know everybody. You don't need to get nominated for these things or like blast whatever your work. There are people in the shadows really following your work and supporting you. And I think that's what matters, that you're not alone. And I think that's the greatest feeling that I had when winning these awards, that we're not alone in the work that we do.
Yeah. I think I just go back to the time, like, I think it was like high school days where whenever I get awards, I get so jubilated with it, no. But then when college happened and when our eyes were sort of like awakened by these philosophy and theology and all of these sociology classes, no, parang every time you win something now, like an employee of the month or a big bonus or whatnot, parang nice but fleeting, because you know that there are so much more things to more important about, rather than these beautifully crafted, nicely listened to awards, diba? So yeah, thank you for sharing that, Gab.
This question concerns like how your work is received, no. The term empathy fatigue is something that a lot of people I think can relate to, especially the past few months, diba? We're coming on the heels of like this global pandemic. We just had like one of the most intense elections ever. And there are other injustices happening all over the world, like LGBTQ rights, racial rights, etc. So it's kind of easy for people not to have the energy to care. Do you experience that in your work? And like when you try and tell your stories, do you feel like your stories are coming across deaf ears? Not that they don't want to care, but that they're just tired of caring?
Yeah, definitely, especially the pandemic, when there was no travel, there was no work, you couldn't go on assignment. You
Yeah.
had to sit still in a room, face your face, and like face your ceiling for the whole, you know 1.5 years, 2 years. um, and I think maybe the term empathy fatigue is, um, I don't know, I don't fully agree with empathy fatigue. I don't think
Mm-hmm.
true empathy ever ceases to to dwindle down. But maybe it's like, the lack of connection with other people, that goes beyond empathy, like being able to sit in a room with people, and really like we're just stripped away from us. You know, we're social
Mhm.
beings. We're social, evolved to be social creatures. Um, and I think now that things are getting back, I think people are starting to care more again. People are finding their passions, getting on their 2 feet, and really walking their day-to-day lives. Um, I think it was but it's true. I think the it falls on deaf ears. There are times when you can't really tell people to care about climate change or care about the environment, but
Mhm.
you know, it's as much as you know the power, that power is theirs, and I respect that power. But we have our own power, so that's in the form of creating, even if nobody takes that power. Because if you, I always feel like this philosophy in a way in creating, that if you put the power of what you create or the stories that you want to tell to the world and hand it on to other people as a means to gain that power back, or like give that power, I think you kind
Mhm.
of lose the essence of your own power to be able to really make an impact. Because when I create or when I post something, a lot of people, you know, it's a reality, it's a fact that not we're not going to reach everyone, you know, or we're not, even if we try to reach other people. But it's a sign that we're so polarized or disconnected, and rather than empathy fatigue. You know, I
Mhm.
don't think this empathy fatigue, I don't know what concept this is, but um, if you truly care, I think you wouldn't really get tired. If you cared for yourself, you were kind to yourself, you were kind to the passions that you're creating. I think that's beyond, that's real empathy. Because you know, parang I think it's true. Because sometimes, and then speak like to just give like a metaphor for that power. I just imagine it as a way that, you know, there's like these two. You're in a fence, in front of a white fence or whatever fence, and there's
Right.
like the people, you voicing out your advocacy, and um, the other people on the other side of the fence. And I think empathy is not going beyond that fence, but going up to that fence, on
Yep.
top of the fence, and lending a hand or lending that hand,
Right.
because you still have that power with you, but you recognize that, you know, you share that power with the other, but not really going off that fence. And I think it's similar to doctors. I realize, you know, you can't help someone if you're consumed by the grief. For example, if it's cancer, you know, a person's dying of cancer, and you put yourself, or like a therapist, not like therapists, right? Like they 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 if they hear these people's problems and put themselves in that shoes, they would get consumed. And how can they help that other person,
Mm.
right, in dealing
Yeah.
with stuff? So there's like this fence that I feel like that there should be, and you should never cross that fence,
Yep.
but have your own power to be able to help without needing to cross that fence.
Gab, what are baby steps to for a person to actually reach for that fence, 'di ba? Kasi especially with the day-to-day busyness, 'di ba? Parang nagiging callous na tayo or parang wala na tayong time to quote unquote care, right? Any tips on baby steps on, you know, getting through that fence and starting to care a bit more? 'Di ba? Kunwari, if you're a smoker, you throw out all of your cigarettes to go to the path of stopping to smoke, 'di ba? How about caring, 'di ba? Meron bang way to be a bit more empathetic?
I think active listening is something I feel like is we need
Yeah.
to do, really need to work on as a society. Like really listening, like not just hearing other people rant or what, you know, let them rant, but don't take it against them. Like, I guess from my personal experience, I was raised in a way that, you know, listening wasn't really a skill that was taught. Or, you know, you talk back to your parents and your parents would automatically shame you because they're
Yeah.
older, because of seniority, and you're distracted or whatever. There's like so many distractions now as well. And listening takes, I think that's the first step, really, you know, being open to listening, and like not even giving advice, just letting the people speak, and like, you know,
True.
don't give unsolicited advice or whatever, you know.
Gab, do you think that a photograph has the power to change someone's life? I'll leave it to you how you plan to interpret that, no? But do you think a single photograph by Fujifilm or any other brands out there, no, or Instax, has the power to change one's life once if it is properly captured?
I think, yeah, in fact, a photograph changed my life. Like
Oh,
really, it was I joined this photo competition, and I never knew how one photo can literally, change my direction in my life. Like, wow, it made me realize how there was this whole industry out there, and like this whole, because that the prize there was they sent me on an all expense paid trip to any place around the world, and like choose on a list, and like I
Oh,
chose
you could
Argentina
choose.
and Chile.
wow.
So
Oh, you
that
could
was when I was
choose.
around 19, and that experience like made me realize, wow, photograph can actually, like a literal photograph, that won the competition, literally changed my life. So what if like a photograph can also change other people's lives? And in the context of like being able to appreciate something or see a photograph, it does, even like instax or photos from a Polaroid camera. You look at the memory of a dead relative, a dead family member that you cared for. It makes you remember lessons. You look back into the past, and you can also get inspiration from photographs. The future, the possibility of the world, of how beautiful the world could be. I think that's the beauty of photography, that it does not speak any language, but language of the soul and the language of one's perception. You don't need to speak Korean to or like any other language. You just see a photograph and you feel something. You're drawn to it. It starts your curiosity. You become a child again. There's a lot of feelings, a lot of um, things that kind of evoke from photography. So that's why I really believe in the power of photos or the storytelling. But especially now, even um, like a basic concept on Instagram, like how when you post a photograph, or like these influencers would post a photograph, they would earn thousands of pesos, or just for one posting one photo. And that fact already shows the power of photography. How putting it in an advertisement or whatever can already manifest in a way that you can draw out income from it or something like that. So there is power in photography.
Alam mo, Lance, when you ask that question, do you think photographs can change one's life? Inisip ko yung movie. Alam mo yung movie Shutter? Tapos may
Yeah,
may ghost sa photograph. Malamang, di ba?
yeah.
Mag-change yung life mo.
Diba?
Oh, by the way, I forgot. I wanted to express my congratulations because you got your degree recently. I think in the past year, right?
Yeah, I got it. Yeah,
Congratulations.
thank you, Matt. Thanks.
Well, I guess the next question is, in your estimation, because we hear all of these stories all the time, about the pandemic bringing the dolphins back, or the whales back into the Philippines or something like that. In your estimation, did you think that the pandemic actually helped conservation efforts all around the world?
No, not at all. It really okay, can I curse? No.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. You can curse.
it
Go
really
ahead.
fucked up a lot. People think nature was healing, but nature was not healing. We're going back to our old ways. For God's sake, gas prices are so expensive, and like people still use them. And these it a lot of, even working, I was working in the pandemic in October 2020, and I had to go to Mindoro, to document the death of the last captive bred tamarau, so facing extinction really.
Oh shit.
And because of the pandemic, the the economic or financial budget that was put supposedly for the livelihoods of the tamarau rangers were cut. So they had to fire an X number of tamarau rangers from their jobs, and they're the ones that have been serving for 20 years, 30 years in that conservation program. So even in the small things, the pandemic did not help at all conservation efforts, because they lacked money. You know, people were losing jobs in protecting the environment. So that nature is healing. It's really such a privileged
Yeah.
way to think.
I think nanggagaling yun sa kapag nakikita nila yung katipunan, hindi na mausok.
Yeah,
Kasi
but
konting cars, right?
yeah, but it makes people should realize, wow, it can actually be like this in a way. That instead of seeing, oh, nature's healing, but what could our society become, right? And seeing the possibility. And unfortunately, we didn't take that into our hands. um, and this new normal that we're dealing at. There's just more chaos happening, more you know uh, dictators being elected, more
Yeah.
war. So it's really terrible. Actually, I don't know if the conservation program benefits for that.
On a lighter note, the next question would be, uh,
It's pretty dark,
no,
actually.
yeah,
The
uh,
stories.
yeah. How about this one? No? In the lens of a renowned photographer like you, Gab, what were the most beautiful places that you've been into in the Philippines that not a lot of people
Mm.
really value or appreciate or even know about?
Lance is
Could you
asking for
name
tips.
could you name
Where
three?
to go?
Oh,
I
diba?
guess one
Para
is yeah, one is the Agusan marshlands. So
Agusan
it's really
marshlands.
open
Mhm.
actually for tourists, local tourists. So it's in Mindanao, it's in Agusan del Sur, and it's really an enchanted landscape because it's like frozen in time, where no buildings, but just like floating communities exist, and it's in the middle in the heart of a swamp basin. The largest crocodiles still, the reptiles that lived for centuries are there.
Wow. Mhm.
Um, and like migratory birds flying from Russia, from Japan,
Mm.
would fly there to nest and roost. So it's really a magical, enchanted place. I guess next would be Babuyan Islands. So it's in the north. Um, I, it's really like a volcanic archipelago. So you would be really, it's really far because it's like a 12-hour boat ride from the northern tip of Luzon
12
Island,
hours.
and you
Yeah.
would be on a boat and just like in the middle of the open ocean, and but it's like really crazy landscapes because it's also like frozen in time. It's hard to reach, it's inaccessible, but it's like youngest volcano island that it just erupted was there, the Didicas volcano. um Underwater volcanoes, and whoa, we have these in the Philippines, right? It's like the first time that I was there was like 2016. And it was like really a crazy experience. You see trees, so tall, and you see these ferns, these giant ferns. You see snakes everywhere. So it's really crazy. It's really wild. And I guess the third would be, oh, I guess would be, there's so many places, but I would say like Palawan. Palawan is still so beautiful,
Mm.
especially the more outskirts part of like Coron or El Nido. It's or like Nakpan Beach up north of Puerto Princesa. There's like a whole frontier. It's like last frontier or bastion for the environment in the Philippines.
Yeah. Do you ever get those moments when you're in these places and no matter how nice your camera is, you tell to yourself, this fucking lens doesn't do justice to the beauty of
Yeah,
this
at all.
place.
Not at
Right?
all. Not at all. The whole like visceral experience of being like, imagine in that volcano, you're standing there and it's like an active volcano, and you're in the middle of this island. So there's like whole cone volcano called Smith volcano, and you could see literally the Philippines. You could see Luzon. You could see
Grabe.
Taiwan. You could see the open ocean of the Pacific and the West Philippine Sea, and you're like, whoa, And how can a photo capture that kind of
Exactly.
moment? And it was
Exactly.
like sunset, so you're like the whole sky, the whole horizon was like in purple, magenta tint, and it was like, you're like the rocks are shaking. It smells like sulfur, but you're like here.
Yeah, I get you. I get you. I'm sure, Matt, galing lang to sa Egypt. Naramdaman mo rin yan, no, Matt, nung nakikita mo yung mga, towering pyramids and whatnot.
Yeah, actually, I don't know. I didn't tell Gab. I didn't really post it on social media, but I
Uh-huh.
came from a trip to Egypt, and how a lot of places there are preserved. It's so nice, and like as I mentioned to Lance a while ago, like the River Nile looks like an actual river. Like if you think, oh, what does a river look like? It's literally that. Sobrang ganda, and maybe it's because it's hot. Nobody wants to touch anything. Pero like the places there are so well preserved, and obviously I hope the same for the Philippines also. Ayun. But yeah, thank you for the recommendations, Gab. No, I think Lance has his if ever his future honeymoon
Yeah,
set
you should go
already.
there.
Sa volcano.
Yeah.
Sa volcano.
How romantic would that be, The earth's
Diba?
trembling with your
Sulfur.
love.
Oh, wow. Sulfur inspired honeymoon, Grabe.
Oh.
Yeah, that's free soap and whatever, right?
Tapos ano, well, I guess lighter questions for to end to round out this big questions, no. Now that you've built like this reputation as this like award-winning photographer, do you find that your friends or family kind of ask you help to take selfies or group photos? The
Oh,
reason why
yes,
I'm asking
Come
is
I
on.
because
hate
when
that. I hate that.
Oh, come
the reason
on.
why I'm asking is because when I went diving with you last year, what happened was that sometimes people would ask you to, "Hey, Gab, pa-picture ganon." Tapos yung response mo is, "Grabe pressure."
Yeah. Yeah, honest, I hate it. I hate it. There's like the pressure of like, I think in photography it's just like a whole perfectionistic
Yeah.
kind of ideal. You have to capture the exact moment at that millisecond. And it's like that kind of process, or like that kind of subconscious feeling that you say like, God, there's so much pressure. Like, even I can't take selfies now. I can't even take photos of family photos, because if it looks like crap, I'm shitting my career down. I'm taking my career down with me. So it's like, but I'm trying not. I'm really learning not to be so like, serious about these things.
Yeah,
And like,
yeah.
just take photos, take selfies, whatever. Just enjoy the moment and just like not be serious about it.
Yeah, Gab,
Yeah.
use stories more. Para na 24 hours nawawala yung ano.
Hindi,
yung photo.
nagsa-stories ka siya eh.
It's stories
Yeah,
ba?
just stories
Nag-stories.
ako. Mahilig
Oo.
rin ako mag-stories. It's a nice way to also, practice photography, right?
Yeah.
Or like practice, just seeing the art of seeing.
Yeah. Mas okay pa yung landscape, no? Hindi gumagalaw. Yung mga tao parang
Oo
daming
nga eh.
movements, etc.
Yung selfie, parang ilang takes pa. Tapos,
Yun nga eh.
oy, may pangit na isa, nakapikit yung isa. So it's like, what's the point of taking all these photos? Everything needs to be so nice.
Okay, and one last thing. You mentioned it in the Offbeat episode, but can you talk about your love for UP MBS and how that community fosters love for the environment? And, is that something that you hope to replicate in Youth Engaged in Wetlands, your organization?
Oh my God, I thought you were just gonna stop at love, period. I was like scared. No, but like, yeah, I think there's a lot of learnings that I learned from UPMBS. Organization-wise, leadership skills that we incorporated, because now it's self-sustaining. Youth Engaged in Wetlands is just self-sustaining. I haven't really been as engaged with the organization because we've already had a lot of members that's working on it right now, and I guess that's what's the goal of an organization, to really be self-sustainable. Yeah, I think that's really more about the youth engaged in UPMBS. It's really, I take the learnings that I had in college and really apply it to the real global scale world, where organizations and like working with international organizations like UN and whatever, WWF, Ramsar, and all these other highfalutin bureaucracy that exists in the world.
Siguro, Gab, no? Imagine the incumbent president of the Philippines, right? So the name shall not be mentioned anymore in this in
No,
this
name
show.
it.
No?
Why?
No?
Why?
All right, let's just say President Marcos will give you the chance, to address two huge groups of the Philippines, no? What would you tell them if you had, let's say, 1 to 2 minutes, no? So the first group will be lahat ng Pilipinong 8-year-old kids. Kaharap mo ngayon, anong sasabihin mo sa kanila? At lahat ng Pilipinong businessman, CEOs, founders, lahat ng may-ari ng mga businesses out there, ano ang sasabihin mo sa kanila?
So I have to say the same thing for both of these
Not
groups.
at all. You can say different things. So you
Oh, I
address
thought-
one, you address the other.
Oh, okay. Well, I guess for the 8-year-old kids, rebel against your parents.
Oh no. Oh wow. Oh wow.
Yeah, I think at an early age you have to make them rebel. Drive that curiosity and like do whatever you want. Life's gonna get serious. Don't think so much about the future, and like don't wish that you're an adult. Just rebel in your own nature.
For
Just
sure.
for a kid at heart. But then I guess for the adults, um, I guess learn to die. No, I'm kidding. Like learn the practice of death. You know, I see like a lot of these problems in society. I just tell them, learn the art of death or like face death. I think a lot of people, old people, are still in denial of what death is. Okay, we're here again with darkness and like kind of really dark topics. But it's because people don't know. Adults need to learn how to let go, and that's something that I feel like a lot of things people hold on to money, people hold on to their corporations, people hold on to whatever, these things that won't matter in the end when they're down that casket, down on the ground, or your ashes, right? And it's something you have to face. You have to face death, and you have to learn the art of letting go. And letting go doesn't necessarily mean removing all your money, but like letting young leaders lead, letting new talents in the corner, learning
Ganda.
new society, letting go of old generational thoughts that we have. And I think that's just what I need to tell, I guess, adults and stuff.
Ganda. Gab, would you say that the title of your TED talk before was "The Infinite Power of Nothing" is based on this core concept of people? You can only be curious if wala ka na, or you've embraced nothingness, or you've embraced letting go. Is it the same thing?
Yeah, I think it stems from that same core value of the kind of stoic philosophy. Parang nothing matters, but really it's just now, now, now. So you just kind of let go and learn to live with what you have and just be content and give back. I think it's because if you have everything with you, there's so much freedom, there's so much choices. You don't know anymore what's going to choose. You don't know anymore what's new, what's there to discover. And I think that's we think when you're an adult, you have it figured out. Diba? Parang papagalitan ka ng nanay mo, sasabihin nila na parang what's that parang phrase, parang nanggaling na ako dyan and stuff like that.
Been there, done that, no?
Yeah, been there, done that. But no, you haven't been there, you haven't done that, because you're not me and I'm not you. And I think that's kind of that idea of nothingness in a way, that I don't know nothing. And even if you're an adult, you don't know nothing, because you're gonna die and you don't even know what death is. And that after you die, so that absolute fact, that absolute truth should always be in our heads. And yeah, I think that's it.
Ganda. Thank you, President Marcos, for the time
Thank you.
that Gab was able to address.
I was gonna say thank you, Socrates, diba? Ganun rin kasi siya.
Oh,
Well, thanks for listening to us at #OffTheRecord. If you liked our special series, follow us as well on Facebook, IG, and LinkedIn and YouTube for exclusive content. That's at the Project Offbeat. If you want to learn more from our guests, you can reach out to Gab Mejia at his website, www.gabmejia.com. Thank you, Gab, again for going on this ride with us. Hope to see you guys again. Bye-bye.
Thanks, guys.
bye.
Thank you,
Thanks so
thank
much,
you.
Lance. Thanks so much, Matt. Nice really catching up.